Are we witnessing the moment when the war in Ukraine crosses into an entirely new phase? Did a Ukrainian strike deep inside Russia just trigger the most serious confrontation yet between Washington and the Kremlin? Is Moscow now preparing to escalate after declaring the United States a direct participant in the conflict? And the biggest question, how close are we now to the edge of a wider crisis? A powerful strike on a major Russian missile facility has ignited the most dangerous exchange of accusations since the war began. Ukraine claims the attack was self-defense, while Russia insists the United States helped plan. Tonight, both sides are issuing sharp warnings, and global analysts say the situation is inching toward a critical line. This is a developing story with serious implications for NATO, Europe, and global security. In the early hours of the morning, a blast tore through a high-value Russian missile facility located several hundred miles inside Russian territory. For civilians in nearby towns, it was another distant explosion in a long, grinding conflict. But for military analysts reviewing overnight satellite feeds, this strike was different. It marked one of the deepest and most precise Ukrainian attacks since the war began. According to early intelligence assessments, the target was no ordinary site. This Russian complex was believed to house components for long-range weapons, including cruise missiles, guidance systems, and possibly even prototypes of hypersonic technology. Hitting it was not just a symbolic blow to the Kremlin. It disrupted a key part of Russia's strategic weapons program, something Moscow had long insisted was untouchable. As flames filled the night sky, internal reports within the Russian military described catastrophic damage and system failures. Several technical personnel were reported injured, and unconfirmed local sources suggested that senior officers may have been inside during the strike. Whether true or not, the perception of vulnerability immediately rippled through the Kremlin and Russian state media. But the military impact was only the beginning. Within hours, Russia escalated the political narrative, accusing the United States of directly coordinating the attack. Russian officials claimed that American satellites provided targeting data and that U.S. advisors helped plan the timing. State media began showing images of the Pentagon, NATO command centers, and U.S. reconnaissance systems, painting a picture of an operation orchestrated from Washington. Then came the statement that sent shockwaves across global capitals. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov declared, "The United States is now a participant in the conflict, whether it admits it or not." In Russian military doctrine, labeling another nation a participant opens the door to a range of retaliatory options, from cyber operations to escalatory actions near NATO borders. It was a deliberate, high-risk escalation. Inside the White House, senior officials gathered for emergency briefings. Intelligence analysts warned that Russia's narrative could justify further provocations, including cyber attacks on Western infrastructure or attempts to destabilize military facilities abroad. NATO officials monitored potential changes in Russian alert levels, knowing that miscalculations, not intentions, often spark the most dangerous crises. Meanwhile, global markets dipped, and European foreign ministries launched immediate consultations. Leaders in Berlin, Paris, and London issued statements urging Russia to avoid destabilizing rhetoric. They recognized the Kremlin's strategy: shift public attention away from an embarrassing security failure by blaming the West. Hours later, the White House delivered its response. In a packed briefing room, National Security Council spokeswoman Adrienne Watson spoke with firm, measured clarity. She called Russia's accusations false, reckless, and a transparent attempt to shift blame. She reaffirmed that Ukraine has the right under international law to strike legitimate military targets used to launch attacks against its territory, even if those targets lie inside Russia. Then came the line that instantly reshaped the global conversation: the United States will not be intimidated by threats from Moscow. This statement was more than a rebuttal. It was a strategic signal. Washington made clear it would not reduce support for Kyiv, not pause military aid, and not respond to fear-based pressure from the Kremlin. Behind the scenes, U.S. intelligence officials briefed congressional leaders and NATO allies, reiterating that Russian claims of U.S. involvement were exaggerated and crafted for propaganda. Analysts noted something else: The intensity of Russia's accusations signaled a genuine fear that Ukraine's long-range strike capabilities were improving faster than expected. Inside NATO headquarters in Brussels, security officials reviewed contingency plans. These classified scenarios, ranging from cyber disruptions to miscalculations near alliance territory, are updated regularly, but their relevance had suddenly sharpened. Allies understood that while Russia likely wasn't preparing for war with NATO, it wanted the world to believe it might be. While Western governments managed the diplomatic fallout, the reaction inside Ukraine was starkly different. For Kyiv, the strike represented a breakthrough. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called the operation a necessary step to protect civilians from long-range missile attacks launched from deep inside Russia. Military commanders emphasized that disabling Russia's strike capabilities could reduce the number of missiles reaching cities like Kyiv, Lviv, Odessa, and others. Social media across Ukraine filled with videos of soldiers celebrating. To many Ukrainians, this was not just a tactical success, it was a moment of morale, a demonstration that distance would no longer protect the bases launching attacks on them. The most unexpected reaction, however, came from inside Russia. Independent Russian journalists reported rising public fear. In towns surrounding major bases, civilians hurried to buy supplies and shared panicked posts online. On Russian Telegram channels, people questioned why air defenses failed, whether more strikes were coming, and whether the Kremlin was hiding the truth. Some of these voices had previously supported the war, making the shift especially significant. This domestic anxiety undermined the Kremlin's goal of projecting strength. Instead of reassuring the public, Russia's attempt to blame the U.S. highlighted its own vulnerability. International analysts agree that this strike and the political confrontation that followed could define the next stage of the conflict. Ukraine has demonstrated it will no longer limit operations to the front lines. Russia has shown it will respond to battlefield losses with aggressive political messaging, and the United States has affirmed that its support for Kyiv will continue without hesitation. Experts now outline three potential paths. First, Russia may escalate its rhetoric without direct military confrontation. Historically, Russia uses threats and dramatic warnings, but avoids actions that could trigger a response from NATO. Instead, it may increase cyber operations or propaganda. Second, Ukraine may intensify deep-range strikes. This latest operation proved that high-value Russian sites, once thought secure, are now vulnerable. If Ukraine continues this strategy, it could force Russia to divert resources to protect its own territory. Third, diplomatic efforts may rise, especially from European nations seeking to reduce tensions. But with Russia on the defensive and Ukraine feeling momentum, meaningful negotiations remain unlikely. Tonight, the world is watching closely. The strike on the Russian missile facility did more than damage infrastructure. It exposed strategic weaknesses, political pressures, and rising tensions among global powers. And as the White House, the Kremlin, and Kyiv all reaffirm their positions, one reality becomes clear. The distance between stability and crisis is shrinking. For now, officials in Washington, Moscow, and Kyiv are assessing their next steps as global markets and military planners brace for possible escalations. Analysts warn that any miscalculation could push this conflict into a more dangerous phase. We'll continue to monitor the situation closely as the world watches what happens next.